can.
Perfect. All right, Jonathan, you want to start us off with the first question?
Sure. Hey, Phil, I'm curious, where do you see, it seems like the last two games in particular, the team has improved. Where do you see the improvements most?
I think knowing the system, number one, and then just number two, getting better at what they're doing. So, we haven't been together really very long, about 6 weeks now. So I think we're making progress. I like we really improved how hard we played during the game, and we were physical. So, if we continue to do that and then correct some details, I think we'll continue to get better as the season goes.
Go to Vashti and then Miles.
Hi, Coach.
Hi.
Just question from what do you see from this Cardinals offense, and how do you prepare for a guy like DeAndre Hopkins?
Well, they have a lot of guys you have to prepare for. Hopkins and the quarterback presents a lot of problems. Murray, we played him in college and didn't do very well against them. So, and then, Fitzgerald still is good. They have a good tight end, and so they have some weapons, and they have a couple other receivers that are fast. So, but, Hopkins is really a good player. He just finds a way and competes and comes down with the football. So, when you play the Cardinals, you have your hands full defensively.
Phil, third down, I think we've talked about a little bit, but it's an issue that I think first and second down is one of those things that you talk about as well. But even on third and medium, third and shorter, there are things that you guys can do better just to start, improving in those areas.
Yeah, I think collectively we've all got to do better in those areas on third down, and it's really hurting us defensively. You just can't give up 10 of 15, on third down. So, we're making an emphasis. At some point, I think it'll kick in, but we have to be better against the Cardinals on third down.
Let's go to David Newton and then Elena Getzenberg.
Hey, Phil, good to see you today. Go back to when you first met Matt Rule. What about you two clicked then, and what did you think he saw in you that made him feel that you could be the guy that could help him turn around programs now at the third straight stop?
Well, it's a funny story. I didn't know Matt when we hired him. So, but it didn't take long to see who he was. And really, we walked into a veteran group at UCLA when that's the first time I met him when he came to work for us at UCLA. And he fit right in and, really bright, good on the field with the players, good teacher. So, it didn't take long to see that he was going to go, a long ways in this business. And he was only with us 1 year, and he went on and got a position job, and, the rest is history. But, and then, I don't know, he worked with us for a year, and, he said, when I got my head job, I wanted to hire you as a DC. So, we got along good, and I think he respected what I did, and I respected what he did.
Hey, Phil, hope you're doing well. I was wondering, obviously Jeremy Chin's playing very well, and he's all over the place and playing a lot. But I was curious, from your perspective, how do you kind of balance wanting to use him all over the field and in a variety of places, and also making sure he's developing and learning, while also doing so many things?
You said Jeremy Chin, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Jeremy is, he's a special guy. You don't find players his size and speed, and then he has really good intelligence too. So, what you can do is think he can do too much, right? And so we have to be careful with that. But he also can do a lot, so we have to utilize his talents too. And he's been terrific with all this, and he's getting better every game. So, I'm looking forward to watching him this Sunday.
Let's go to Skylar and then Phil.
Hey, Coach, I'm just curious, how do you even prepare for a guy like Kyler Murray, so dynamic with the ball in his hands, and how much do you think he's changed really since his days at Oklahoma?
Well, the guys that are chasing him are bigger and faster, and he was fearless in college, and now you got to be smarter in pro football, and he's done that. So I think that's a change in him. He'll take off now, and he'll make a lot of big plays, but he's also very smart in what he does as far as running the football. But, obviously, the more football you play at this level, the better you get. And he's shown that. And he's just a dynamic guy back there. He's actually, he's fun to watch on tape. It's there's a lot of good athletes that can't catch him. So, we've got our hands full.
Hey, Phil, to that point, how do you teach rushing with discipline against a guy like Kyler Murray? Because he's a guy that obviously, if you don't fill your lanes properly, can hurt you. Is that something you can teach?
Oh, yeah, you can really work on that. But, and I don't know, a lot of people don't realize there, if you rush 4, there's actually 6 lanes. So you can't cover all the lanes. So then what you do, you say, well, let's try to not rush real aggressively, so we keep him in the pocket and all that. And then he stands back there all day and kills you. So, he just presents a lot of problems. But I think the worst thing you can do is not be aggressive. But you have to rush his upfield shoulder and try to keep him in the pocket, but not run by him either, because that's when he steps up and takes off. So, there's a lot of details to rushing Murray, and we're going to have to be sharp with those details on Sunday.
Let's go to Mike Solarte and then Joe Person.
Thanks, Preston. Following up on the pass rush and that sort of thing, the opportunity maybe to have KK back to bolster that defense. And how did you grade those guys out in their work last week? As
we talked about
to cut some gap there.
Yeah, we talked about we ended up getting 21 pressures in the game. So I thought the guys that were rushing really improved this past week in a lot of different areas. But and we've got to continue to do that every week. If you don't put, the highest paid players in our league are at the quarterback position, and you have to affect them, or they're just too talented. So, that's got to continue this week. And so hopefully it does.
Hey, Phil, we heard Teddy say last week that you had a pretty poignant speech where you said, kind of tired of hearing all this crap about we're close, good enough. Was hoping you could expand on that, and then wanted to know how you plan to fold Eli Apple.
There's really, this being close stuff, and I've been in a lot of programs where we've come in and we've had to turn it around, and until you realize close isn't good enough, you never really get over the hump. So, I just talked to the team about that, and obviously made an impression maybe on Teddy and some other players, but there's really no excuses. You either win or lose the football game. And Eli, Eli is really a good talent, and I'm looking forward to watching him the rest of the season. But we're going to utilize Eli. He's big and physical, and he's good against big wide receivers. So when everything's good with Eli, he'll be in the football game, and we'll utilize him.
All right, we have time for one more, so let's go to Jonathan for the last question.
Hey, Phil, I'm wondering, when you first were looking at the film and kind of breaking down, evaluating the defense before the season, what were the strengths that you thought you could take advantage of, and what were the weaknesses that you thought you all needed to get better at?
Well, there were a lot of free agents on our defense. So we were watching the tape, and I said, now who's this guy? And when I first came in, they said, well, coach, he's gone. So we basically, not start over, but there's a lot of guys from last year's defense that weren't here, that aren't here today. So, we just had to mold our own way through it, with all the new players that we have, and we're making progress with that. I think between players and coaches, we're starting to come together, and so, but again, the proof's in the pudding. You got to go out and play and play well. So, hopefully, we continue to get better each week.
All right, Coach, we appreciate you taking the time.
Yep. Thank you. See you guys.